I'm going to swing on Rose's shield just to kill Luma, and we'll see what happens from there. But Dabuz also plays very protectively of his Luma.
And on top of that, we've seen, at least in the very least in the doubles bracket, we saw how Dabuz approached fighting against LingLing's Peach, and a lot of it was just punishing the fact that he stays very mobile in the air, and you can't really bring a lot of that aerial aggression against Rosalina and Luma just because the juggle game is so strong, and Luma has no problem with controlling a lot of space with minimal effort.
Right. And also, Peach always is going to be approaching from the air. Rosa with one of the best anti-air games in Smash 4. She's got up tilt, up air, up smash. I mean, just those three alone, right? And even jab are going to stuff a lot of Peach's approaches.
Yeah, there's a lot of hurdles that LingLing's going to have to jump through in order to get through this one, but it's certainly doable. If there's any Peach in really all of the East Coast that can showcase how this matchup's supposed to be done, I feel like LingLing is the one.
I don't know if these two have met in bracket before. If they have, it's probably been a while. Dabuz, not really one who travels to in-region tournaments too much. He's been on a little bit of a quiet streak recently, not in terms of his performances, but since taking home Civil War, he kind of just fell off the face of the earth for a couple months. Came back last week at Smashadelphia, got second underneath ESAM, and I think that kind of lit a fire under him, and he's like, you know what, man, if I'm going to keep up, I have to go to the smaller tourneys too. I can't just win Civil War and then disappear and then expect to come back and get first at everything.
Yeah, he's been playing it a bit under the radar, just sort of taking a break so that the burnout doesn't catch up to him. But
of course,
when you take all of that time off, everyone's going to catch up ahead of you. And while he is able to analyze situations incredibly quickly, and his knowledge of the game certainly hasn't fallen off in his downtime, everyone's still on that grind. They're getting all of that practice. So the pressure's on for Dabuz to make sure to take home the gold tonight.
Yeah, you got to keep the hands hot, and you also have to have your muscle memory just ready to go. So that's why we're seeing Dabuz at a tournament like this. You know, even though it's not like a $5,000 pot bonus with 600 entrants, this is still really respectable competition. He knows he's got to at least prove to himself that he can win this.
So seeing things start off on Battlefield for Game 1, and right off the bat, we see that Dabuz is just trying to keep LingLing at arm's length, having puppeteered Luma just a little bit further from its base positioning.
And now LingLing is in the air. That is the trouble spot. We're going to see Dabuz just pretty much juggle him with up air almost exclusively, but should he manage to get below Rosa and Luma, you might see something like back air or neutral air to cover it. And all right, LingLing successfully able to get back down to the ground most of the time here. Dabuz taking a big risk and loses Luma for it to a stage spike. You don't see that too often.
No, it's very unconventional, but it certainly got rid of Luma quickly. So that's a few seconds that LingLing has to put a bit of pressure on Dabuz, but he's not really given that opportunity. The up air pressure from Rosalina alone being enough to stall for Luma's return.
Yeah, he killed Luma while he was cornered, basically, so Dabuz just kept capitalizing on that. You'll see a lot of Roses try to like roll away and wait for Luma to respawn, but Dabuz understood that he could just keep the offensive pressure up for 12 seconds.
And the pressure needs to stay on. If he slips up at any point, LingLing can really extend just a small bit of advantage. And with the amount of rage that's behind Peach now, and considering how large Rosalina is, there's potential for the reverse hitbox of Parasol to take Dabuz off the top. And a quick stock like that can really mean some danger.
Yeah, that's kind of Peach's X factor, but unfortunately she's gonna have to lose a stock right there. Just whiff side B right in Rose's face. I feel like she was trying to take out Peach. I feel like Peach was trying to take out Luma with that side B, but unfortunately just missed.
Yeah, Peach Bomber is a bit of a double-edged sword. It's one of Peach's finer tools for getting rid of Luma, because Dabuz, yes, but Rosalina has to shield that, or else residual damage is going to knock her back considerably and leave Luma vulnerable. However, if it does whiff, it has considerable end lag that Dabuz knows how to take advantage of.
Yeah, really good when you actually connect with something, though, because then you get that bounce off. But, man, LingLing is bleeding in this match already. It is looking close to over. Of course, anything could happen. He's really just got to land 2 clean kills on Dabuz, but this is not a guy who's known to drop his leads.
Yeah, he's playing things particularly reserved in this set, having just a sweet spot of down air to take Game 1 over LingLing. And we are not seeing that many inputs from Dabuz. Everything seems very calm and calculated right now.
Yeah, no reason to rush in whatsoever. And Peach, not exactly the hardest character to keep out. She doesn't have that kind of burst movement that the characters Rosa struggles with have. Like, for example, Meta Knight and Cloud. They can really close the gap very quickly, whereas Peach, she can float somewhat quickly, but not nearly enough to get the job done against this character. Oh, so many hitboxes from that Nair.
Just right out the gate, and LingLing opting for the turnip pull in a pretty precarious situation. Getting Vegetable on board can help LingLing with controlling a bit more space and potentially locking down Dabuz, depending on what he's able to pull, whether it be the upper echelon of the vegetables or potentially, Bomb-Bomb or Mr. Saturn. However, those situations aren't presenting themselves immediately, nor is luck going to be sitting in LingLing's side that often. So relying on such tools to outspace Dabuz, especially so close, I don't feel like that's the right way to go right now.
And man, LingLing's offensive mix-up's looking crispy. A lot of empty floats into grabs or jabs. And of course, the staple aerial pressure.
I find the FD pick very interesting, considering how strong Dabuz was at being able to juggle LingLing. And LingLing wasn't really making too much effort through ledge advantage in Game 1.
Almost looking like a KO. But yet, you're definitely right. I'm very surprised to see, especially Rosalina counterpicked to Final Destination. I don't think this is a stage that Peach necessarily excels on. She's also very good at platform pressure, so I don't know. Maybe it's just a personal preference thing for LingLing. And actually, thinking about it, are there any Rosalinas in New England, or in even specifically Connecticut, that LingLing would have practice against? I'm not sure at this current moment. Definitely correct me if I'm wrong on Twitter or something, hit me up, but it looks like LingLing is at least fairly well versed in this matchup if he's sticking it to Dabuz this well, at least here in Game 2, because he kind of got washed in the first one.
Yeah, over the course of the evening, he's been playing rather strong, and it seems that this FD pick is working out for him. There's just so many factors that have been taken away from the stage, and that seems to be what's going in LingLing's favor, but take into consideration Dabuz having an outstanding neutral, already tying things up in this game.
Yeah, LingLing got the first stock, but of course, he needs to get the second too if he wants to even up the score here. Got Dabuz setting up his wall, just throwing out hitboxes with Luma anytime Peach gets near. Basically where he anticipates LingLing will try to strike. And fortunately for LingLing and everyone who fights Rosalina, you can clank out all of Luma's hitboxes just by challenging them head-to-head. And that's really going to be key for him to close this out. Whether he's getting rid of Luma or just nullifying her hitboxes, he needs to do something before Dabuz starts to steamroll this momentum, which looks like it's about to happen.
Yeah, Dabuz trying to find his opening now, but LingLing staying offensive. He wants to make sure that at no point is Luma going to really interrupt what he's trying to go for, because at the slow and steady race things are going, LingLing can still potentially take out this stock from Dabuz, but the percentage isn't really there yet, and he's going to have to play a little bit more careful.
Dabuz turning up the aggression as well, snuffing LingLing out when he went to just pull a turnip. Got a grab and quite a bit of damage from it. Basically untouched on the second stock here. It's looking like a totally different Dabuz from the first match. First stock, I'm sorry. Same Dabuz as the last match.
Yeah, Dabuz still looking reserved, still looking to make sure that every hit that he puts out has a purpose. He's not really trying to put out any hitboxes to contest space or deny LingLing. Really just the presence of Luma is doing that for him.
Yeah, and always landing with that neutral air from Luma, which applies 2 hitboxes, and Rosa is free to move because it doesn't actually put her in any lag if you do it close enough to the ground. So smart from him. Alright, and 175 for LingLing, knocking on death's door. Jab, back throw, close to the edge, and even up throw. I didn't even know that that happens.
You know, at 189%,
yeah.
Your imagination can kill.
Yep. Well, unless you're Sheik.
Well, yeah. It's going to take a bit more effort.
Yep. But Dabuz closing out the second game, and he's now on winner's finals point, basically, or winner's semis to advance to winner's finals point. Very close to making it into the top 3. And look how cozy that little area is, man. I definitely got a little mini nap sesh in earlier today.
Everyone loves the beanbag chips.
Yes, they're great. Also, I'm like a human cat, so I'm always like kneading the bags. Like, oh, it just feels good, man. Anyway, back to the match. We have Dreamland and Dabuz just spamming those up smashes. I don't know if this is like, hey man, I know I got this, so I might as well, or I know you're jumping in and I'm making a legitimate call here 3 times in a row. And either one.
The funny thing is how well it worked, because we saw Dabuz start to do that within Game 2. And thanks to the presence of Luma, up smash ends up being a pretty solid anti-air.
Yes.
It ends up snuffing out a lot of LingLing's short hop approaches and floating out, or canceling the float rather, doesn't really give him anything to contest it. He has to sort of match it with Nair and just hold that, or peel back and just lose all of that effort he's put into approaching.
Yeah, and also if your spacing's a little bit off and you're too close, Rosalina's hitbox will eat through your aerial, whereas Luma's, of course, can clank. So you got to be super careful. If you're aiming to hit Luma, you have to hit just Luma to get rid of her, especially when you're a character like Peach trying to deal with those anti-airs head-to-head. There we go. She's out of the picture, and, I mean, LingLing looking great right now. Can we see him take the first stock for the second time in a row?
It's certainly possible, but now that Dabuz has his feet firmly on the ground, he's starting to punish these landings from LingLing, and it's so easy for Rosalina to punish the landings of Peach. A lot of her tools just allow her to negate the float landings and punish out the heavy end lag, especially on fair.
And Dabuz showing some smarts here. Of course, he's a genius level player, that's why he is where he is, but he shielded all 3 hits of LingLing's immediate float cancel Nair into jab jab. That's just some real matchup wisdom here, and somehow manages to take the first stock after a pretty heavy deficit. Oh, but it's very quickly responded to by LingLing.
Goes to try and pull a better vegetable than what he had there, but we're just going to get the regular smiley turnip. And while I do feel that the vegetables could potentially give LingLing a bit of an advantage, especially if he manages to pull the Stitch Face, if he pulls Dottie, especially so with Mr. Saturn in this matchup in particular. He's not really given a situation where he has the time to rotate through them, nor is he really getting anything out of the vegetables he does pull. It's just leaving him wide open for Dabuz to get in some pot shots.
I mean, Rosa is the definitive anti-projectile character, I'd say, between gravitational pull and Luma body blocking a lot of projectiles. It's really hard to play your normal game against her if you're a character with projectiles. That said, I feel like Peach is a good exception just because during float, of course, she doesn't throw the turnip, so she can apply pressure while holding onto the item. We saw a little bit of that from LingLing, but right now it seems to just be all about actually getting the aerials and bullying Luma. Look at that 3-piece.
That was a cute little combo to get rid of Luma, and it's all about now if LingLing can make the most of the situation, sitting at tied percentages, but with Dabuz firmly in stage control.
Able to get back on the stage just barely.
Luma is back online, but a forward air is going to be sending it and Dabuz off stage. Dabuz, of course, returning and sitting without a Luma once again. LingLing seeming to have figured out how he needs to get rid of this Luma and how quickly.
Yeah, Dabuz not really playing with much fear when Luma's not there, but maybe he should be. Rose is so tall that the item throw went right over Peach's head. LingLing recognized the situation. Quick up smash, and we're going to see the set go to 2-1. This is definitely not over. Dabuz not out of the woods yet. Still has a slight lead in the set, but LingLing is definitely showing some signs of life here.
Yeah, if he's able to, keep up this pressure, keep eliminating Luma as a worry of his, we could see the reverse 3-0. It's a possibility.
I am not ruling anything out, man, especially with the way LingLing has been playing today, making it to winner's side top 8. Definitely putting Connecticut on the map. Actually, the sole representative left. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Light is still in. I was going to say Light is out, but no, he's not. He's actually in losers, so the sole Connecticut rep in winner's bracket.
And he's going to have to take this set from Dabuz if he wants to keep that status quo. But sitting here now in game form, Lilat Cruz. How do you feel this stage is going to impact the match at hand?
I actually don't know. I think it's definitely good for Rosalina. Having 3 platforms low to the ground makes her juggle game and platform pressure very dangerous. However, Peach is kind of a character who can thrive off of that as well, so it really comes down to which of these players is going to take more advantage of it. I think these characters see some of the same benefits from it.
Lilat Cruz is a very dynamic stage that's rather infamous for its quirks. I know you in particular are quite against it.
Yeah. But that's neither here nor there. We've got a very sick opening by Dabuz. I mean, just keeping it so solid, even without Luma. Doesn't need it.
It appears that LingLing's putting his floats a little bit closer to the stage at hand, and one point about Lilat that makes it rather unique for this matchup is how the arch of the wings is allowing LingLing to cover a bit more space as he floats out, but constantly floats back into the straight base platform as opposed to the wings. I'm thinking that if LingLing can control that base space so that he could at least make Dabuz's approaches a bit more linear, things could be a bit safer for him.
Oh man, and that neutral air shield pressure is just so much to deal with. Of course, Luma just making everything dangerous. You gotta really focus on her before you can even worry about Rosa. It's kind of like fighting a boss in an RPG when they have like the sub-characters that can heal it or something.
Oh no, yeah, the annoying little mini-bosses.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta kill them first. However, it's one of those bosses that can summon them again. Of course, every 12 seconds, 12 and a half, Luma's coming back.
And LingLing looking to sequence break this boss fight as he keeps on honing right into Rosalina. He really doesn't want to focus too much on Luma during this game, but it looks like he's going to have to after that up smash.
I love how Dabuz just inched Luma forward, used that separation to make LingLing's life a nightmare. It's just so hard to deal with them together, and even when they're like both on the screen and not together, using Luma kind of like a turret, you know?
Yeah.
Rosalina can just sit back and chill and have Luma fire away at the opponent at no risk to her, but oh, what? She's still alive?
Excellent DI and hurt box shifting from Dabuz, keeping that stock ever more. But
oh, is that an SD?
that is an SD. A very unfortunate gambit for LingLing, diving deep in, and if the ship was tilting in his direction, he would have had that, but too far gone.